Dear shorthand writers, welcome to YouTube channel Parliamentary Reporter. This is English shorthand dictation number 171 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, I have never seen anywhere a judiciary that is elected. The only country where we know that the judiciary is elected is America, and you know that it has brought judges into disrepute in all the American Commonwealth. I am sure my honorable friend does not want us to have that experiment tried on us. In view of this, I must say at once that I cannot accept the principle embodied in the second part of the bill, that judicial powers, both civil and criminal, should be handed over to a panchayat, which in substance is an elective judiciary. As I have been watching the affairs that are going on in this presidency and especially what is happening to the depressed classes, I am bound to say that so far as we are concerned, we can never consent to judicial affairs being administered by a panchayat. Ours is a very peculiar and, if I may say so, a very pitiable position. We are a small body of people occupying a corner of a village. We are never looked upon as part and parcel of the village community. Although living in the village, we are all the same an alien body whose progress is looked upon with great jealousy by the rest of the community. My honorable friend shakes his head, and therefore I think I must read to him from the report of the State Committee, which I did not want to do. In paragraph 102 of that committee's report, the condition of the depressed classes in the village is described at great length. That is our position. I cannot consent to so much judicial power, both civil and criminal, to be handed over to a people who are perpetually in an organized conspiracy to defeat our aims and objects. I perfectly sympathize with the Honorable Minister's underlying purpose. If I have understood him correctly, all that he wants is that the villagers should get justice cheaply and it should be more easily accessible to them. I believe that is the underlying motive he has for the judicial provisions he has made in his bill. If that is so, then I think that there is a better method of doing that. It is not necessary to give the judicial powers to the village panchayats. We have already in existence what are called honorary bench magistrates in towns. It should be perfectly possible to extend that system whereby we can divide each district into judicial circles, and for the government to nominate 3 or more persons to discharge the judicial functions in that circle. These 3 gentlemen would on one day sit as magistrates to deal with criminal cases, and on another day they will sit as civil judges to try civil cases. By this method, you will not only secure easy justice, but at the same time you will secure a judiciary that will be independent of local influence, a judiciary that will be free from the disadvantages of an elective system. I think this ought to satisfy the requirements of the case. At any rate, I have to make it plain that if the Honorable Minister insists that the bill be put through as it is, with all the provisions in it, especially those provisions which he regards as matters of principles, I must say that I shall oppose this bill. Mr. President, I must congratulate the Honorable Minister in charge of this bill for having brought this amendment which seeks to do some justice to the two great minorities of this province. I feel I must support the amendment of my honorable friend. I do not know what has passed on the floor of this house before I came in between the honorable minister for local self-government and my honorable friends who are sitting on the front opposition bench. But I understand that they have no objection to the amendment as worded by the Honorable Minister for Local Self-Government, that if the amendment stood in the terms in which he had proposed it, the opposition, without much lament, would accept it. If that is the position, then I do not understand what difficulty can the honorable members of the opposition have in order to accept the amendment proposed by my honorable friend. Sir, as I understand the position of the honorable minister and my honorable friend, the difference seems to me to be of a very minor character. The Honorable Minister for Local Self-Government has stated his amendment in general terms. He wants to impose an obligation upon the collector in the matter of exercising his discretion in making provision for the appointment to the village bench of members of minority communities. That obligation he chooses to state in the general terms in the name of minorities, whoever they may be. My honorable friend has gone a step further and stated that in doing so, the collector should specifically bear in mind the Muslims and the depressed classes. Sir, I do not understand why the honorable members who accept the amendment in general terms should object to the particularization of that amendment. Do they think or do they not think there are minorities in this province, and the honorable minister's proviso is intended to safeguard the interests of these minorities? If the minorities are there, then what is the harm if those minorities are specifically named in a clause? If the general amendment is accepted that the minorities ought to be protected, and if we know that in every village, if there are no minorities, there are certainly the depressed classes and the Muslims, I do not quite understand what objection there can be if these particular minorities were mentioned in the clause itself. Either let us be honest and say that we do not see why any such clause giving special rights and special protection is necessary, or admit that there are communities which need special protection, and if we mean business, let us specify the community that needs protection. Sir, the last speaker has urged two propositions. First of all, he said that in accepting the amendment proposed by my honorable friend, we shall be disfiguring the statute. I would like to remind my honorable friend that this is a cry which is too late. We shall have a constitution not for this province nor for that province, but a constitution for every province, a constitution for the whole of India, which will have recognized this principle in as clear terms as we can think of. The plea which has been urged by my honorable friend in this house is a plea which has been urged by many stalwarts in the round table conference, and we know that they all came to grief. Not only they came to grief, but they almost ended in wrecking the constitution. If I may speak from personal experience, if there is anything that brought disaster on the round table conference, it is the academic attitude of these stalwarts. Sir, India is not Europe. England is not India. England does not know the caste system. Consequently, the political arrangement that may suit England can never suit us.